I saw a thing, actually, a study that said speaking in front of a crowd is considered the number one fear of the average person. Number 2 was death. Death is number 2? This means to the average person, if you have to be at a funeral, you would rather be in the casket than doing the eulogy.
It's funny to think about it now because I feel like about 50% of what I do is speaking in some form or another, whether it's a conversation like this or I'm on stage or in front of my computer doing some kind of live stream. But I grew up with a debilitating fear of public speaking. And it was a fear that nobody knew about, except later, fast forward, my husband knew.
I didn't even know.
He didn't know. Our team didn't know. And it all began when I was in high school. And I had a friend who was delivering a presentation in front of a big class. It's kind of one of those year-end presentations. And she had a panic attack. And she ran out of the room crying.
Oh, no.
And found her in the bathroom, kind of, hunched over, sobbing. And unconsciously, in retrospect, I can see this, but I developed this story that speaking is dangerous. It can lead to absolute humiliation and the loss of control of your body. And that was like my worst nightmare. And so as time went on, I avoided any experience that would involve me speaking in front of other people. It got to the point, so absurd in my 20s, that when I would be at like a small group gathering with church, and you go around, you read a little bit of a book or a passage of the Bible or something, I couldn't even do that in front of 6 or 8 people. I would pass to the next person because I would start to feel my throat constrict and all those physical sensations of anxiety. And so professionally, I would just shut down opportunity after opportunity after opportunity that would come along.
Yeah.
And finally it got to the point, now I'm working in this company and we weren't partners yet, but I'm in the company and the team says, we wanted this big event, probably gonna be like 800 people there and we're so excited about it. And you've never keynoted and we think the people would love to hear from you. We want you to keynote. And in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh. And
well, what did you say though?
Yeah, but I said,
Yeah, exactly.
Nervous laugh. Sure, that would be great. And I think the next day or next couple of days, I got on a trip to go on a business trip and found myself sitting in the gate in Chicago at the American Airlines gate, sobbing myself, texting a friend, my friend Michelle, saying, I have to finally face this demon. I cannot let it control my life anymore. If it kills me, I have to find a way to get a breakthrough. And that began my most profound experience of confronting a story that had been so limiting for me and so constricting. And I went through a 6-week process of preparing for that event. I literally wrote a new story for myself of how I wanted to experience being on stage. I worked with an anxiety coach, a speech coach. I had medicine from my doctor, which I didn't end up using, but I just wanted it in my back pocket in case. And what was amazing, as difficult as that was, and it was very hard to prepare for that. I had a panic attack the night before the event. When I got on stage, it played out exactly like the story that I had written. It was fun. I felt confident. I enjoyed it. I connected with the audience.
And she killed it. I'm just going to tell you, I was in the audience. I was never more proud.
Yeah, it was amazing. And it was such a profound experience of realizing I'm trapped in this old story for 20 plus years of my life. And then by changing the story, I have access to a whole new experience of life and impact.
The most powerful thing to me about anytime you experience something like that is whenever I've had any sort of similar experiences, my next immediate thought is, wonder what else
Right.
I'm not doing.
Exactly.
Wonder what else I'm thinking
Yes.
I can't do that I probably can do. It's like if I made that happen, I never thought that was going to be possible.
No.
Right.
But it went okay. I did pretty well with it. It seemed like it was received well. What other stories am I telling myself that is limiting me from stepping into this ultimate version of, who I really can be?
And everybody has something. May not be that
Absolutely.
dramatic, I hope if you're listening that it's not that dramatic. but if it is, there's hope for that. I have people all the time reach out to me who are terrified of public speaking. It happened just the other day. Somebody sent us a video about it, that they had heard that story and it made them think just maybe, and this is an example of interrogating the story, just maybe that story they'd been telling about they couldn't speak because they were too anxious about it might not be true.
Yeah. Isn't it the number one fear?
Yes.
It is.
For adults?
Yeah. What is that, Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah, Jerry
line?
Seinfeld says that, the number one fear that Americans say they have is a fear of public speaking. He said, which means that if you're at a funeral, you'd rather be in the coffin than giving the obituary.
So true. Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. But it all comes back down to the stories that you're telling yourself. And I love that idea of interrogating the story and trying to really figure out, where did this come from? Why do I think this way?
Right.
And what evidence points to it potentially not being true?